Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Trying something to find out about it. Any standardized procedure for measuring sensitivity or memory or intelligence or aptitude or personality, etc. The test was standardized on a large sample of students. A set of questions or exercises evaluating skill or knowledge. When the test was stolen, the professor had to make a new set of questions. Test or examine for the presence of disease or infection. Examine someone's knowledge of something. The teacher tests us every week. Put to the test, as for its quality, or give experimental use to. The act of testing something. The act of undergoing testing. He survived the great test of battle. Achieve a certain score or rating on a test. She tested high on the LSAT and was admitted to all the good law schools. A hard outer covering as of some amoebas and sea urchins. Determine the presence or properties of a substance. Show a certain characteristic when tested. He tested positive for HIV. Undergo a test. She doesn't test well. Trying something to find out about it. A sample for 10 days free trial. An annoying or frustrating or catastrophic event. His mother-in-law's visits were a great trial for him. The act of testing something. In the experimental trials, the amount of carbon was measured separately. The act of undergoing testing. Candidates must compete in a trial of skill. Law. The determination of a person's innocence or guilt by due process of law. He had a fair trial and the jury found him guilty. Sports. A preliminary competition to determine qualifications. The trials for the semifinals began yesterday. Trying something to find out about it. Trying something to find out about it. A test of the suitability of a performer. Any standardized procedure for measuring sensitivity or memory or intelligence or aptitude or personality, etc. Any standardized procedure for measuring sensitivity or memory or intelligence or aptitude or personality, etc. Any standardized procedure for measuring sensitivity or memory or intelligence or aptitude or personality, etc. A set of questions or exercises evaluating skill or knowledge. A set of questions or exercises evaluating skill or knowledge. The act of giving students or candidates a test, as by questions, to determine what they know or have learned. The act of examining something closely, as for mistakes. A detailed inspection of your conscience, as done daily by Jesuits. Formal systematic questioning. Protect, hide, or conceal from danger or harm. Test or examine for the presence of disease or infection. Screen the blood for the HIV virus. A strainer for separating lumps from powdered material or grating particles. A covering that serves to conceal or shelter something. A screen of trees afforded privacy. The personnel of the film industry. A star of stage and screen. Separate with a riddle, as grain from chaff. Examine in order to test suitability. Screen these samples. A white or silvered surface where pictures can be projected for viewing. Prevent from entering. The display that is electronically created on the surface of the large end of a cathode ray tube. A protective covering that keeps things out or hinders sight. A protective covering consisting of netting can be mounted in a frame. They put screens in the windows for protection against insects. Examine methodically. Screen the suitcases. Partition consisting of a decorative frame or panel that serves to divide a space. Project onto a screen for viewing. Screen a film. Examine someone's knowledge of something. We got quizzed on French irregular verbs. An examination consisting of a few short questions. Make an effort or attempt. The infant had essayed a few wobbly steps. Put to the test, as for its quality, or give experimental use to. An analytic or interpretive literary composition. A tentative attempt. Put to the test, as for its quality, or give experimental use to. Observe, check out, and look over carefully or inspect. The customs agent examined the baggage. Consider in detail and subject to an analysis in order to discover essential features or meaning. Question or examine thoroughly and closely. Question closely. Provide evidence for. Cause to puff up with 11. Increase in volume. Be shown or be found to be. She proved to be right. Put to the test, as for its quality, or give experimental use to. Establish the validity of something, as by an example, explanation or experiment. Obtain probate of. Prove a will. Prove formally. Demonstrate by a mathematical, formal proof. Take a trial impression of. Melt, fat or lard, in order to separate out impurities. Try the yak butter. Test the limits of. You are trying my patience. Make an effort or attempt. Take a sample of. Put to the test, as for its quality, or give experimental use to. Put on a garment in order to see whether it fits and looks nice. Put on trial or hear a case and sit as the judge at the trial of. Earnest and conscientious activity intended to do or accomplish something. She gave it a good try. Examine or hear evidence or a case by judicial process. Give pain or trouble to. Take a sample of. Try something new, as in order to gain experience. Put to the test, as for its quality, or give experimental use to. Perform in order to get a role. A small stream. Have a particular form. The story or argument runs as follows. Perform as expected when applied. Does this old car still run well? Compete in a race. He is running the marathon this year. Become undone. A row of unraveled stitches. She got a run in her stocking. A score in baseball made by a runner touching all 4 bases safely. The Yankees scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th. Run, stand, or compete for an office or a position. Who's running for treasurer this year? come unraveled or undone as if by snagging. Her nylons were running. Direct or control projects, businesses, etc. She is running a relief operation in the Sudan. Extend or continue for a certain period of time. The film runs 5 hours. A race between candidates for elective office. He is raising money for a Senate run. Include as the content, broadcast or publicize. Pass over, across, or through. The act of testing something. Travel a route regularly. Carry out a process or program, as on a computer or a machine. Run a new program on the Mac. Flee. Take to one's heels, cut and run. If you see this man, run. Cause something to pass or lead somewhere. Have a tendency or disposition to do or be something, be inclined. These dresses run small. Stretch out over a distance, space, time, or scope. Run or extend between 2 points or beyond a certain point. Service runs all the way to Cranberry. The act of running, traveling on foot at a fast pace. He broke into a run. Cause to emit recorded audio or video. Keep company. The heifers run with the bulls to produce offspring. Change or be different within limits. Interest rates run from 5 to 10%. Deal in illegally, such as arms or liquor. Continue to exist. A race run on foot. She broke the record for the half-mile run. An unbroken series of events. Nicholas had a run of birdies. Reduce or cause to be reduced from a solid to a liquid state, usually by heating. The pouring forth of a fluid. American football. A play in which a player attempts to carry the ball through or past the opposing team. The defensive line braced to stop the run. Be diffused. These dyes and colors are guaranteed not to run. Move along, of liquids. Progress by being changed. Run through your presentation before the meeting. Pursue for food or sport, as of wild animals. The dogs are running deer. An unbroken chronological sequence. The play had a long run on Broadway. A regular trip. The ship made its run in record time. A short trip. Take a run into town. Be affected by, be subjected to. Run at temperature. Be operating, running or functioning. The car is still running, turn it off. Carry out. Run an errand. Cause an animal to move fast. Run the dogs. Cause to perform. Run a subject. Change from one state to another. Run amok. Cover by running. Run a certain distance. Make without a miss. Move about freely and without restraint, or act as if running around in an uncontrolled way. Who are these people running around in the building? Move fast by using one's feet, with one foot off the ground at any given time. Don't run, you'll be out of breath. Occur persistently. Musical talent runs in the family. Run with the ball, in such sports as football. Sail before the wind. Set animals loose to graze. The continuous period of time during which something, a machine or a factory, operates or continues in operation. The assembly line was on a 12-hour run. The production achieved during a continuous period of operation, of a machine or factory, etc. A daily run of 100,000 gallons of paint. Travel rapidly, by any, unspecified, means. She always runs to Italy, because she has a lover there. Unrestricted freedom to use. He has the run of the house. The testing of an idea. Not all experimentation is done in laboratories. The act of conducting a controlled test or investigation. The testing of an idea. It was an experiment in living. The act of conducting a controlled test or investigation. Try something new, as in order to gain experience. Students experiment sexually. A venture at something new or different. As an experiment, he decided to grow a beard. To conduct a test or investigation. We are experimenting with the new drug in order to fight this disease. A generic term used to cover any application of measurement techniques to the quantification of mental functions. The activity of communicating. The activity of conveying information. The activity of communicating. The activity of conveying information. They could not act without official communication from Moscow. A connection allowing access between persons or places. How many lines of communication can there be among four people? Something that is communicated by or to or between people or groups. An appraisal of the state of affairs. A check on its dependability under stress. Be verified or confirmed. Pass inspection. These stories don't check. Make cracks or chinks in. The heat checked the paint. A mark left after a small piece has been chopped or broken off of something. Examine so as to determine accuracy, quality, or condition. Check the brakes. Develop a child's or animal's behavior by instruction and practice, especially to teach self-control. Become fractured. Break or crack on the surface only. Lessen the intensity of temper. Hold in restraint. Hold or keep within limits. The state of inactivity following an interruption. Held them in check. Find out, learn, or determine with certainty, usually by making an inquiry or other effort. Slow the growth or development of. A written order directing a bank to pay money. He paid all his bills by check. Be careful or certain to do something. Make certain of something. Mark into squares or draw squares on. Draw crossed lines on. Additional proof that something that was believed, some fact or hypothesis or theory, is correct. A mark indicating that something has been noted or completed, etc. As he called the roll, he put a check mark by each student's name. The act of inspecting or verifying. They made a check of their equipment. Something immaterial that interferes with or delays action or progress. The bill in a restaurant. He asked the waiter for the check. Put a check mark on or near or next to. Please check each name on the list. be compatible, similar or consistent, coincide in their characteristics. The handwriting checks with the signature on the check. Hold back, as of a danger or an enemy. Check the expansion or influence of. The act of restraining power or action or limiting excess. Abandon the intended prey, turn, and pursue an inferior prey. Arrest the motion of something, abruptly. He checked the flow of water by shutting off the main valve. A textile pattern of squares or crossed lines, resembling a checkerboard. She wore a skirt with checks. Block or impede, a player from the opposing team, in ice hockey. Chess, a direct attack on an opponent's king. Consign for shipment on a vehicle. Check your luggage before boarding. Decline to initiate betting. Hand over something to somebody as for temporary safekeeping. Make an examination or investigation. Check into the rumor. Obstructing an opponent in ice hockey. Place into check. He checked my kings. Stop for a moment, as if out of uncertainty or caution. She checked for an instant and missed a step. Stop in a chase, especially when scent is lost. The dog checked. Verify by consulting a source or authority. Check the spelling of this word. Write out a check on a bank account. Judge tentatively or form an estimate of quantities or time. Pronounce judgment on. Form a critical opinion of. I cannot judge some works of modern art. An authority who is able to estimate worth or quality. Put on trial or hear a case and sit as the judge at the trial of. The judge tried both father and son in separate trials. A public official authorized to decide questions brought before a court of justice. Determine the result of a competition. Form a critical opinion of. We shouldn't pass judgment on other people. Form a critical opinion of. How do you evaluate this grant proposal? Evaluate or estimate the nature, quality, ability, extent, or significance of. Earnest and conscientious activity intended to do or accomplish something. Made an effort to cover all the reading material. Use of physical or mental energy, hard work. He got an A for effort. A series of actions advancing a principle or tending toward a particular end. Contributed to the war effort. A notable achievement. The book was her finest effort. Make an effort or attempt. The police attempted to stop the thief. Enter upon an activity or enterprise. The act of attacking. They made an attempt on his life. Earnest and conscientious activity intended to do or accomplish something. Attempt by employing effort. We endeavor to make our customers happy. Earnest and conscientious activity intended to do or accomplish something. Wished him luck in his endeavor. A purposeful or industrious undertaking, especially one that requires effort or boldness. Attempt by employing effort. Earnest and conscientious activity intended to do or accomplish something. A purposeful or industrious undertaking, especially one that requires effort or boldness. A written form of a musical composition. Parts for different instruments appear on separate staves on large pages. He studied the score of the sonata. A resentment strong enough to justify retaliation. Settling a score. A slight surface cut, especially a notch that is made to keep a tally. Gain points in a game. The home team scored many times. Assign a grade or rankta, according to one's evaluation. Score the SAT essays. Grounds. He tried to blame the victim, but his success on that score was doubtful. Induce to have sex. Did you score last night? A number or letter indicating quality, especially of a student's performance. What was your score on your homework? Make small marks into the surface of. Score the clay before firing it. A seduction culminating in sexual intercourse. Calling his seduction of the girl a score was a typical example of male slang. Make underscoring marks. An amount due, as at a restaurant or bar. Add it to my score and I'll settle later. A number that expresses the accomplishment of a team or an individual in a game or contest. The score was 7-0. A set of 20 members. A score were sent out but only one returned. Get a certain number or letter indicating quality or performance. She scored high on the SAT. The act of scoring in a game or sport. The winning score came with less than a minute left to play. The facts about an actual situation. He didn't know the score. Write a musical score for.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.